I've never done a live podcast before, so this is kind of neat for those of you that weren't on the stream and just like to, listen to my voice on a weekly basis or watch my face on a weekly basis with this lovely video in the back that you can see here. What I've been up to? Oh, just a lot of work, man. A lot of work, a lot of relaxing, a lot of work, a lot of Tito. Got a full week, and I still find time to have some chill points in between, It's like as hectic as it is, I like to have, some downtime, stay a little sane, stay a little motivated too, because I feel like you could be a super workaholic, but if you don't have those, things that keep you inspired and stuff like personal stuff, then, you gotta, just things that keep you creatively, keep you going, keep the gears going up here, or, whatever it is your creative outlet is. So, with that being said, I've been watching a lot of stuff lately. I've actually been watching more stuff than I have in the last while. I actually think this is the first time I've actually been binging a show in like the longest time, movies included. I did mention on a past episode that I was the closest was I was binging Lord of the Rings during the Christmas break. But this time around, for reasons you may or may not be aware, I've been, for no apparent reason connected to anything at all, I've been rewatching Netflix's Daredevil series. I mentioned that on stream the other day. But, man, that show, there's something about that show, man. Like, I actually admittedly haven't seen the third season or Defenders, but back when I saw the first and second season when it came out, it was actually, geez, it blew my mind. And even till now, like, I haven't seen it in a few years. I have to double check when the release date was. I keep forgetting, was it 2015 or 16 that the first season came out? I'm not totally sure. In my mind, it was 2016, and then I think, what was it? I want to say 2017, 18 or something, the second season came out. But I saw those at the time. Like, I remember when the first season came out, I watched it, like, I think I binged that. Like, I stayed up all night and watched the whole first season, and I fell in love with the show. And the second season was, like, amazing, too. And I'm literally, so I'm on episode, as we speak, I'm on the finale, episode 13. And, I remembered a good amount of it, but there was a lot, like, when you don't watch something for a while, that it's, if you don't watch it in at least over 2 years or something, depending on how good your memory is. Like, it felt pretty fresh to me. Like, I remembered a good amount of the general broad points. And one thing I remembered, I won't get too much into spoilers for those of you that haven't seen it. All I'll say, as of now, is please watch that show. It's honestly, if I'm honest, I like it, I think, more than all of the Disney Plus, Marvel stuff. That might be, I don't know if that's a controversial take or not, but I think on the whole, people, like, love that show, Daredevil. And for, reasons you may or may not know of why I didn't watch anything after season 2 is that, so I watched all of those connected shows. So I watched Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, then Daredevil season 2. And then I think after that is, or sometime in there, Iron Fist came out. And this is, like, bad of me to say that, like, I heard it wasn't that great. I was actually excited for it because I always liked him in the comics. But this is one instance where I kind of let the people's general reviews get to me and, like, not to say form my opinion, but it kind of did turn me off a bit. And, it's a lot of investment to watch a show. And, if you're hearing something's not good, you're less likely to watch it. But honestly, this may be me out loud voicing my thoughts on, my internal thoughts on potentially watching that show for the first time. So I've only been watching Daredevil. I didn't watch everything in chronological order. And I'm actually debating, because I remember loving Jessica Jones also, rewatching that. But yeah, like, I think a lot of people, it was a pretty big show at the time, like Daredevil, I mean. And it still is so good. And, I think it's pretty well known, but I don't want to, like, I don't like talking about spoiler stuff without giving a bit of a warning. But let's just say, for anyone, like, I already said it in the last podcast, but I still, like, don't want to talk about spoilers about things. So let's just say that for the reasons that you may know why I'm watching Daredevil right now, it's pretty kind of loosely known to some extent that characters from that are returning in a way to the new stuff, the Marvel world and Disney Plus and all that. And I'm excited for it. And just kind of a testament of just how good that show was. Because back then, people didn't really know what to think. That if you remember, I don't, again, spoiler, like loose, like little references here and there. I'm not going to spoil plot points, but the show and the Netflix stuff always did make references to the Marvel, like the Avengers and stuff like that. But the movies never reciprocated it back. The movies never actually talked about it the other way. So people started to think that, okay, the movies aren't talking about it, so it's not canon. It doesn't connect. So, like, honestly, and you can kind of see, like, tonally why it wouldn't fit in terms of, the ultra violence in the show. It's pretty intense, but, like, rightfully so. Like, you wouldn't want, like, a dumbed down version of that. And I think that's kind of some of the kind of worry that people have to bringing, those characters into this world, into the MCU, the main MCU timeline. Because, it's like, it's not that it's not kiddie. Like, I love the MCU stuff, but, it's not the most, like, you're not going to see someone's skull getting crushed by the door of a car. And my thing, too, isn't necessarily that violence doesn't equate to things being good, but I think when there's certain characters, that are known for being, like, extremely violent or something, and it's kind of embedded in their character, let's say, for example, Punisher, you can't really do a dumbed down version of that. So I'm excited for what Marvel's gonna do, but I'm also, cautiously optimistic. I have no reason to not really trust what they've been doing so far. And, I'm not some entitled fan. I'm just, whatever they make, I'm going to watch. I'm not like, oh, I deserve this. I deserve that. Like, and not to say, like, quality matters. But at the same time, I'm just happy. Like, again, just the fact that we're at this point, that there's all these, like, dude, they're, like, connecting universes and stuff like that. And, like, we're in, like, a 20-plus movie timeline of, like, a universe, like, that hasn't been done. Like, we're just in the midst of this right now, and it's one of those things, who knows if in 20-30 years the MCU will still be going. Well, we really don't know, because it's been going probably longer than some people expected. But I'm curious about how it will be looked back on. Like, for sure, it's like a landmark achievement, whether you like it or not. Like, nothing on this scale has been done before. It's basically TV on the big screen, but now there's actually TV. It's crazy. It's literally the level of the comics now, just how intricately detailed it is. So, bottom line of this whole conversation is that I love the Daredevil show. Please rewatch it. And another thing too, it reminded me again of, this is just how long it's been since I've watched, like, a good show. I wouldn't say that. I loved Mandalorian, and what else did I love? I actually loved Loki. I liked a lot of the Disney Plus stuff, but this show, like, it got me so invested in the characters from scratch, Like, without having seen a million movies, just the show, self-contained, it made me care about these characters and, like, what's going to happen next and everything. And, like, I love that feeling, That's kind of, like, the whole thing that inspired me to even, want to make content in general. Just make, my own content. It's a big, stuff like this is, like, indifferent. Like, everything I consume inspires me in some way. So yeah, like, I love that show, and it's definitely worth watching. And I know there's people out there, like, some of my family haven't seen it. My sister's actually for the first time watching it, and I love that I'm, like, real time. See, I'm not watching it with her because I actually am so far ahead, because I told her to watch it by the time I was already around or near done season 1, and she's in love with it. So I'm so happy about that. But I don't think I've heard someone that doesn't even like the show. Like, in general, it's worth watching, bottom line. Whether, I'm actually more surprised, like, if there's people that don't like it, I'm curious to see what they have to say. And I'm gonna potentially I think what I'm gonna do, though, after I finish season 2, I think I'm gonna watch Defenders right away. But I'm also debating if I should rewatch, and first time watch Iron Fist and rewatch Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, because it's all connected. But I don't know, because I know enough about those other storylines that I feel like it'll refresh me enough, but I think it would be also more gratifying to rewatch. But, that's hours and hours of content to watch. So it depends. I'll give you guys an update what I end up doing. But yeah, that's that on Daredevil. Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, but did I say? Yeah, I said I didn't watch season 3. So season 3, and I'm so excited because I heard it's, like, the best season too. I hear people say between 1 and 3. And the thing with 2, I love 2. But the thing with 2, and I appreciate it more watching the second time. I'm not going to spoil again, but there's the thing with 2 is that in some ways it feels disjointed because it's trying to do a lot. There's 2 main plot lines that are going on, and they don't necessarily connect. You know, like they're pretty separate. But I think it honestly balances it in a way that I'm still invested in both. I know there's some people that don't care for one of them and they care a lot about another one. And yeah, those of you that watch will know. But I think I'll just say enough for people to understand what I'm saying without spoiling. But yeah, I honestly, like on second watch and knowing how the season is overall, like it makes me appreciate it more, what they're going for. And I think it does it really well. Like it nails it. So I think honestly within the circumstances of what they chose to put, like let's say on paper they wanted to put all these things in this season, I think it's done in one of the best ways it could have been done. Maybe they could have done it in a way that maybe somehow connected everything, but I don't know. Like I love it either way. Like I'm invested, and I'm like, right after this I'm gonna go watch that and binge that for the rest of the day. So yeah. What else did I do this week? Oh, last week I mentioned on the last podcast, and those of you that happen to be in Canada, Ontario specifically, Toronto specifically, that area, that, you know, theaters are closed now. And I had to get in one last movie in the theaters before indefinitely until I don't know officially when stuff's opening, but I got to see, if those of you who follow me on Instagram, you might have seen my story. I watched the Paul Thomas Anderson movie Licourice Pizza, with this coming-of-age movie that takes place in the 70s, starring, actually, shoot, I forgot, I feel bad, I don't remember his name, but Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, who's like a teenager. He plays like a kid in the 70s. I'm not going to go into too much, but he's like this very entrepreneurial-minded kid who, you know, like he falls in love, or like he's infatuated with like this girl who's a bit older, and I think it's Alana Haim. She's like actually a musician for the band Haim, and I didn't really actually know that much about their music, but a random side note is that I think it was her and her whole family actually in the movie, like her actual like the other band members, which are her sisters, and her real parents are in the movie, like her dad, so that's pretty cool. And I think all 3 of the sisters or the band were also in, if you saw the Thundercat music video, Dragon Ball Durag, they're in that, so that's pretty funny. Because I had to I watched it back. I don't even know how I put that together, but I watched it and I was like, wait, is that the girl from the trailer? Because I think I didn't know about the band, and then I saw the trailer, and then I must have watched the music video again after. Because if you guys, it's a hilarious music video. I think everyone's seen that, but the Dragon Ball Durag music video by Thundercat. She's the one at the end where there's like 3 girls in like an alleyway, I think, that he's hitting on. Because like the whole video is like him trying to hit on these girls and, you know, court them. He's trying to use his prowess and his durag to attract the women. But they all turn him down, Kali Uchis included. And I forgot the other one. There was a comedian too. But getting off the point. Licorice Pizza, though. It's a really good movie. But the thing is that it wasn't your typical... Like, it comes off like a coming-of-age movie, right? But the thing is that it's not like typical. Like, it's very much like it doesn't go the way you think it's gonna go. And there's these 2. There's an age gap between them too, which I think to some people might be weird too. She's older by like 10 years. In the movie, she's like 10 years older than him or something. And there's just, I don't want to spoil it, but it's like it doesn't go the way you think, like to lead to the point that, like, it's just a really good movie. But I could see why some people might not love it, because it is one of those movies where things just kind of happen and you don't really know what's going on, and like sometimes there's plot lines that might not really seem like they matter. But I think when you think about like the core, like think of the movie, just if you go into it just viewing it as like these 2 people in this kind of like strange relationship and like just how they navigate that, it's a really good movie. But yeah, like I loved it, but my brother, he didn't as much love it. So that's you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but he's wrong. He's totally wrong, and there is a wrong opinion. And yeah, so I'm just letting you guys know, if you guys watch that movie, you are right if you enjoy it, and if you don't like it, no, I'm joking. You know, you can do whatever you want. You can hate on me all you want for liking it if you hate it. You know, all the power to you. But Yeah, no, it was really good. Like I would, it's worth watching, but I'm not gonna say that I think that everyone's gonna love it. So it ain't no Daredevil. Totally related. Like that would be a good double feature. Double feature meaning you watch a whole show and then just one movie. No, it's good. Like I think it's worth watching. And if anything, to see Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, like crazy enough, like it's trippy. Like he was in a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies before he passed away. Like one of the best actors ever, and it's crazy to see pass on the torch like kind of spiritually to his son, who's a great in the movie too. Like he's actually great. And he played a 15-year-old, and I had to look it up because I wasn't sure how old he was, but yeah, he looked young. That he's actually 18, so yeah. So technically in real life it's not illegal. Yeah. But I don't know, that's the 70s too. I don't know what the deal is in the 70s with all that stuff. But yeah. I saw some people saying that it's like his version of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in terms of, so it takes place in LA kind of, or I think it's Encino, California, which is I guess it's one of those it's like a area around, is that close to LA-ish or in LA, a suburb of LA, something like that. And it's showing like that other side of Hollywood. So I can see why it's like these two seasoned directors kind of showing their like they're almost like taking like what they remember from their childhood and making a movie out of it in some sense. Like they're just taking the things they remember, like Tarantino versus Paul Thomas Anderson, and then making these movies that are kind of nostalgic for them. And it's like showing like this other side of like not the obvious stuff of that time period, showing like their deep knowledge of, I think they both grew up in LA, so they know about that, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, Licorice Pizza, in my opinion, it's I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. Yeah, this is now a review podcast, the number one review podcast of all time, so yes, that's why you're all here. And what else was I watching? Oh, on my it became a tradition that when I commute down for work, I take the train to Toronto because I'm in like the suburbs. Like it's roughly a little under an hour to get there, 45 minutes or so. So I'll do whatever. Like sometimes I'll do some work. I'll write down ideas for videos or work or anything. Or sometimes I'll watch stuff. Like sometimes I'll watch. If it's Wednesday, it's actually became a tradition to watch the new release on Disney Plus it was Hawkeye last month, and now it's Book of Boba Fett. So that started, and it's on the second episode. I saw some people it had a little bit of mostly positive, but some mixed reception on the first episode. Honestly, I don't want to, again, I hate spoilers, but there's something, let's just say, the thing that you wonder about Boba Fett, like a big part of like, if you're into all that in Star Wars and like the history of that character, they answer a big question there or show something that is like 30 years in the making in the first episode. And I think people kind of like went by the wayside for some people because they just viewed what they didn't like about the episode. But for me, it was like, geez, that's like a big deal just seeing that. You'll know what I mean if you watch the episode, like just to see this scene. And that was great. But the new episode, guys, the second episode is so good. It's so good. So if you're into the Star Wars stuff, Star Wars needs all my promotion because, it's such a niche and small thing. And, like I'm gonna, a big podcast like me, I'm gonna help them out. I'm gonna help Disney out, guys, by saying that Book of Boba Fett, give it your eye peepers and ears to, for like an hour. It's worth it. Yeah, I loved it. The second episode, I'm excited for where it goes. And I like that I'm staying just like, I'm not being too immersed in it, that I'm just watching it as is and not really like doing like, like the research and stuff and being too invested because I want it to just surprise me. But I'm expecting to see some, if it's a Boba Fett show, there's probably going to be some stuff that connects to like the old movies that I'm excited about, like potentially some characters maybe. And then maybe connections to new stuff too. Because I was really into I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I'm following all that. I've watched all the Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff like that, all the animated stuff, and pretty much all the Disney release stuff for the most part I've watched, like the main stuff. Clone Wars season 7 was amazing, by the way, if you guys watched or haven't watched it. Clone Wars in general is a great show. You probably would have heard, but yeah. that's the gist of what I watched this week, unless I can think of something else. But yeah, like I used to actually, and just me talking about all this like watching stuff. I used to be like a huge movie collector. I still have like a big movie collection, like Blu-rays, and I'll never get rid of it. But I over the last few years, I started to like see why people like stopped, physical collecting, and it's like it seems like it's a dying thing. And it makes me more curious if there's going to be like the next like 4K is kind of like the current next physical thing. But I'm curious if it'll get to the point. It seems like it's going that way, that they might just stop physical releases altogether. My thing was like I like to have it, like I like the image of having a big collection because I'm a big movie guy. I think I have somewhere, I haven't counted, but like somewhere between 200-300 movies. But the thing that dissuaded me from buying movies like now is that, or at least I think the last year that I stopped buying, and I can pinpoint it, was 2017. And it wasn't for any specific reason. It was just that, and the thing, I just realized that I stopped, not to say fully stopped caring about buying movies, but 2017 was like a really good year for movies. And I realized that there's so many like key ones that I didn't buy that came out that year. And I think the one that I keep thinking in my mind was Blade Runner 2049. There's a few others, but just off the top of my head, I just remember that year I stopped, like, because my collection was getting too vast, and I didn't have the space for it to make sense or justify me like keep buying the collection. And then I don't know if I've ever mentioned before, but we had in COVID in the last year, mid last year actually, major renovations in my house. And if you've noticed, for those of you that are like really eagle-eyed viewers of my skits, you'll notice that kind of like the setting of where I film is different. Where I would actually, this space here is actually where the skits, where whenever you see the cashier skits, a lot of them are filmed here. And this was relatively unchanged, besides the fact that I added a computer here. So if you've watched, there's probably enough footage of my whole house in my videos that you could probably maybe decipher the layout. But if you've ever seen stuff in my room from older videos and then compared it to new stuff, like I'm in a new room, but it's in the same house. But bottom line, in relation to the movie stuff, if you're like, where's this guy even going with this? When I was, doing a little spring cleaning in the midst of moving, it made me realize that I wanted to just I had so much clutter. I had so much stuff. Because I also was collecting Lego. You might have seen in the back in some of you might even see, yeah, you'll totally see here with this crazy video, but technically behind the crazy video, I have a huge Tower of Orthanc, the Isengard Tower, Saruman's Tower from Lord of the Rings in Lego, which is crazy. I bought that off Kijiji. I trekked all the way to another district to get that in the middle of the night on a rainy day. And his like serial killers were. It seemed like the vibe of like something out of like Zodiac or something. Like something was gonna happen to me, and I shouldn't have gone. And I got my cousin. Shout out to my cousins, to drive me there. So like that was fun. It was after work, but anyways, what I'm trying to say is that my collection got like pretty big, and like doing this move from one room to another, I realized that I needed to cut it down because like I still like sometimes I still buy stuff. Like people never stop buying stuff. So I had to like have this kind of mental ultimatum that I'm only going to buy stuff now if it's like really, really important to me. So when it comes to, so what I did was actually one of my friends, one of my buddies, Josh, who he might have mentioned before. I might have mentioned before. He actually made the sad music for the channel. Actually, I got it off his SoundCloud. I've mentioned this before briefly, but he helped me move a little bit. He helped me like kind of rearrange my room and stuff, and I just knew mentally that I wanted to get rid of some of my clutter. So I got rid of like a good chunk. I'd say like maybe a fifth of something like that, like less or around a quarter or a fifth of my movies. Definitely a big bin of it. So I had like an IKEA shelf that had like 8, cubbies, whatever you call them, 8 thingies, and then one of the tower ones that goes up to like the ceiling, and that was like full of movies, and then almost a third one of that. So I managed to cut it down to just the tower still, and then part of a second shelf. But I got rid of like a big chunk of just, and it's not that I got rid of them. I put them in the Rubbermaid bins and put it above in the garage. But they're all movies that like I either haven't watched in a while or I knew I wouldn't care to rewatch, and they're not like among my favorite. And even now, like I think the more I look at my collection, I see stuff that like I could do without. Cause so now I only want to like get stuff that's like absolutely essential for me, and not even just when it comes to movies, like anything in general. Like I had a phase, like I said, like of Lego. Like I have a Millennium Falcon, I have an X-wing, I have Yoda's hut, I have a Master Yoda's hut. So yeah, like, and that's all like right over my PC setup here. So I'm just trying to like, be more strategic about my buying now, and everything has to be methodical, and just at least until I get a bigger place or something, I move out and get more space, because like like I do enjoy the act of collecting, and like it definitely adds character and it does show a bit of your personality in your space. But the other thing, just on a functional level in terms of the movies, I realized that like I don't even like tend to put in my discs anymore. Like if something's on Netflix or Disney Plus, or those are the two main streaming platforms I pay for, like I won't, like if it's on there, I won't feel the need to put in my movie into the Xbox Blu-ray player. I use a Xbox One. But yeah, like I couldn't even like just like it started to make me realize more and more that I really don't need this collection. Like I don't need it, but there's like I still love like movies, and I don't think I'll ever truly stop buying them, and I'm never gonna get rid of my collection unless if I ever get rid of my collection, I told my friends, it's not going well for me. if anyone ever comes to my house and sees that I don't have movies there anymore, it's I'm not doing too hot. But yeah, like yeah, if you're trying to start a collection, I'd say like make sure it's important to you, everything you get, because when I was buying, I didn't even get into like the beginning phases. I remember the first movie I bought back in high school. I think it was actually like Fight Club. Fight Club on Blu-ray. And that kind of started it from there. And I got to the point where like if I liked a movie that year, like just kind of liked it, like I would buy it. And I had like, and then plus old movies and stuff. So I was buying just like everything I could get my hands on. And sometimes it would be disgusting where like I wouldn't even look for deals. I would just pay just to have the thing I wanted. I would pay whatever it took. I think I'll admit this. A few of my friends know this. I think the most disgusting purchase I made. This is where it gets super like you're gonna think I'm sick, but I'm the type that I care about specific editions of a Blu-ray. Like the rare releases and stuff like that. Like me and my friend Damien, like we would go every release, like at least for certain release dates it was Tuesdays for movies, that we would go to like either Best Buy or Future Shop or something and get like the new release of a movie on the Steelbook edition, the rare edition, and they sometimes sell out. They still sell out now. If you look up the one for No Way Home, he actually told me that that's done. Like you can't even like apparently the pre-order's done on that. So that's one I'm probably gonna buy. So just stuff that I feel like I really is essential, like in my opinion is essential to have. But back then, like if it was important to me, I would buy it. And then even like just going for casual visits to the mall or like the music store, even like music stores are like far and in between now. Like they're kind of a resurgence of them in Toronto. There's Sunrise, which is an old one that it died out and then it came back. But some of you might know about HMV, and that's like gone. I miss that so much. HMV was the best. We'd go to HMV like every week. They turned me down for a job there actually. So if you're that guy, you're that hipster guy that turned me down at HMV, I'm still planning my revenge on you, and I'm not done. I'm not through with you yet. It worked out though, Who knows what my life would have been if I got that job, but yeah. But yeah, like it's a nice experience, but it's a money hole. And I didn't even really have that. Like I was working at the grocery store at Metro at that time, I think actually even before that I started my collection before I even might have even had my first job. I think I started collecting movies like a year or two before I had a real job. So I was using like allowance and stuff like that, or selling things and then buying things, stuff like that. But like I would like when I it would be like every time I went to the store I would leave with something, and then it wasn't even always something I cared about that much, and even more so now looking back, because like when I was younger then and starting up my collection, I'd see that you go on Kijiji or something and you look at the I wanted to I was trying to get to the point of why, like, how I was like sick for buying like rare editions of stuff. Like I would buy, like, for me it mattered if it had the slipcover. It still kind of does, to be honest, but I like to have, like, even if it's the regular edition, like I'm more inclined to buy it if it's like, a nicer edition of it. I like to have the slipcover because it looks nice on the shelf. And I would go lengths to just get an edition of a movie with the slipcover. And the thing I was trying to say earlier, it wasn't even about buying the movies on opening day. That was disgusting. The thing that was disgusting, it was one time, and there's a few of them, but there's one that really stood out. Wall-E, the Pixar classic, one of my favorite movies. Definitely one of my favorite Pixars. I don't know if that's a big thing, if people say Wall-E is one of the best. I think they say most of the Pixars up until Wall-E are considered goated. Actually, up until Up. Besides Cars, almost all of them up until Up 2010 were considered like top contenders. But Wall-E, anyways, I needed to have that. And like movies sometimes have a re-release, and I was so hell-bent on buying the original release of that movie because it had the slip cover, and it was like a thick case and it looked nice. Dude, oh my god, I think I saw it at HMV. It was the only one. I had already bought the newer edition of it, I think. And then I returned, like, and it was like, let's say $20-$30, something like that. That's pretty standard for a new release. I don't know about back then, though. I think it was still that. Because this is like, I want to say it was more than 5 years ago. I want to say like between 5-10 years ago. Would that make sense? Maybe like 7 years ago. But it costed like, I think it costed something like $80. It was disgusting. It was like $80. And I didn't really bat. I kind of was trepidatious about it, if that's the word. But I did it. I paid for it. And I feel sick about it. Actually, I don't know if I feel sick about it. I can't get rid of it now. It's a little too sentimental for the amount of money I put in. I don't even know if it's worth anything now. And not that I would care. I wouldn't resell it unless, if things aren't going good for me, I would sell it. But it's one of those things, man. We all have those moments of, splurging in a kind of in an unrational manner. But that was one of my failures of restraint. I just had to spend. And yeah, I would never do that level again. Unless it was, But then again, the movie was like one of my favorites. But if I had the movie already and I had the need to buy it again, it was gross. And then the other thing I did too, which is, it just makes me look worse, is I'm the type that will double dip. In some cases, if it's my favorite movie, triple dip, meaning that I would buy it more than once to have. And I did that with The Dark Knight. I think I have like 2 versions of that. If there's I'll do it mainly if there's multiple rare editions of something. I think my most disgusting one I have, because I don't even love the movie, one of the worst movies in the MCU. I don't even hate it. Like, I don't hate any movie in the MCU, but some are just meh. And this is one of the meh ones, is Thor: The Dark World. I literally have 2 versions of that movie. And Damien, who I mentioned earlier, was with me that day. We bought both. Or, I don't know, I forget if he bought both. I think he did. I bought both. I bought the Steelbook and I bought the Target exclusive. Target, which is actually... Yeah, Target's gone, right? Target was in Canada for like 2 seconds and now it's gone, right? Is Target still here? I think it's gone. Yeah, it's Walmart again. Walmart took the throne once again for department stores. But yeah, there was a Target exclusive. I'm the type. I'll buy the store exclusives, the online exclusives sometimes. But yeah, I still have both editions too. And I kind of want to get rid of one of them. So I don't know. Like, there's some things I look at my collection and it's not the perfect collection, because now my ideal perfect collection is just all movies I love, all gotta be like, I don't know. There's some things, like, there's only collectors really know this, but like, I don't know if I don't know if you have to love everything you own. You have to at least like it a lot, and at least like it to the extent where you like, it's almost like that thing of like a mood board where it shows your personality. And not even I don't know if that seems pretentious, but like the movies there, like I'm gonna say too, I genuinely enjoy everything I own. Like I don't buy stuff just because I think I'm cool for buying it or something. But like sometimes I think that the collection, depending on like how, like the kind of movies you have, like people look at it and it's like, oh, that I could deduce this about you. Like this is the sort of stuff you like. So I kind of like that aspect of it, like you see someone's collection, you like to see what they have and stuff. Every time I would see people's collections of like movies, or like movies in particular, but like music collection, record collection, I would always like geek out over it and just like, want to look at it. But, record collection's a whole other thing. I think that's like one of those things that I feel like I would have, and in another life, I would have by now already had a really big collection. But I think it had to be one or the other. I couldn't do that and Blu-rays and have a rational amount of space in my room. So like I had to make a call. I have like, I think something along the lines of like something like 5 vinyl albums. I think it's actually, I can name them off my hand. I think I have Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders. I have To Pimp a Butterfly, the Kendrick. I have Damn, the signed actually version of Damn that released. He supposedly signed it. Hopefully, I like to think it was him and not some one of thousands of people that wrote a little KL on the vinyl, and I have that framed in my room. It might even be in the background of my videos. I have a little picture wall there. But yeah, and then I think I have the Miles Davis album Bitches Brew. Experimental jazz classic, and then I forget what else I have. Oh, do I have a John Coltrane album? I don't remember. I have like, anyways, it's a very, the fact that I don't even know, and I only have like 5. Maybe it's not worth collecting, because the thing with vinyl, and you got to be a super hardcore music person to like really appreciate it, is the fact that, it's a whole act to take an album out, put it on, drop the needle, and it's kind of a commitment because you're really listening to it live, right? And it's like a commitment. It's something that's very much like an old time thing. Even like the act of like watching movies, that's one thing that like I feel like is somewhat missing now. It's like with the advancement of technology, we have like less inclination to really commit to something. So now we have like everything, right? We have everything, but we also have too much, and like it takes a lot to commit to something, right? So that's one thing about albums, like, but it's cool that there's a resurgence of them, and that it definitely has its crowd and its appeal. And I don't think physical media will ever truly die. Maybe it will, who knows? I like to think it won't, but I'll always it'll always have a special place in my heart, collecting, and like, if funds start coming in on a bigger scale for me, because it's a little tight right now. I'm afloat, but like realistically, I have this mentality too where I want to save, but it never ends up happening. I always I've dipped so much into my savings for like random things. Before I got my latest job, in the time that my freelance work got slow last year, and from when I got a new job, that space, for some reason I got a car. No, I got a car even before that. But I got the car not thinking that this was going to happen, and then I was taking advantage of my leisure time whilst, there wasn't crazy restrictions, and I was seeing friends, driving around, seeing family, but driving around a lot. And I think it was the fact that it was my first car, so I was putting so much money into it. And it's true what they say, that a car is actually a money hole, but it's a worth it money hole. But it's definitely, it doesn't let you do everything you want to do, for sure. So because I feel like I would have so much more money if I didn't have a car right now. But, it is what it is. I'm happy in my current state. I don't have the need to buy so much stuff. I'm glad, actually, in the last few years that I've mostly shed a lot of my materialism is still kind of there, but it's not to the full extent it used to be. You know, I'm probably the least out of a lot of my friends, actually. And, you know, I still, like, admire when I see, like, when I see them with their collections and stuff. But, like, for me, it's like, I don't know. It's what I've said. Like, I don't have the space for it. I like, when I see my collection, like, I don't even want to, like, I realize there's things I don't need. So, you know, like, you make the calls that you need to make. So, yeah. And when I was collecting too in high school, you know, not even, yeah, in high school and into college, you know, it was that side hobby I had. And it is one of those things too, like, you know, having a collection, like, I view it as, like, it's an aspect of my legacy. I like to have my collection, like, when I'm gone, it's like, oh wow, these are the movies he watched, you know? And then my channel's that too. It's like, that's one thing I'm proud about with the channel, like, just doing this channel for the last few years. I like having this documentation of, like, you know, this is the stuff I did, and, like, it kind of, like, whether it's this gig meaning both the podcast and the stream, technically, for those of you that are watching it at any given point. Shout out to everyone that's listening to this at any point in time, hacking into my computer and listening to my personal notes that, again, you're not supposed to be listening to. This is indeed a reminder for everyone listening, a personal memo video that it's just a journal that no one's supposed to be watching or listening to. I hope that no one's listening to this right now, but if you are, I hope you don't find anything incriminating about me in what I'm saying right now. So yeah, I just think that I'm just glad that I started doing this. And one thing, now I have to get into the story of, like, how I even started doing this, like, the whole Tito thing was, like, I started it in college, and actually right after college, the summer after I graduated college, 2018, is when I started doing it. And, you know, like, it started off, like, doing, like, I didn't think of anything of it, but every conversation with friends was always something along the lines of, like, wow, that's, like, a funny skit idea off something I'd say or something we'd say. And we never just ended up doing it. And I finally just, like, had the, like, thought that, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna start a like, I'm gonna start making videos. And I honestly, one thing, because I love the fact that I'm so glad that, you know, I've stayed committed to this. And I could tell you and confirm right now that there is literally no plan on stopping. Because, like, you know, I don't get the most views all the time on everything. But, like, I'll tell you that, like, my passion for it is, like, as strong or maybe stronger than it ever was. So it was never fully about, you know, the dream is always to make it. And to, if I could, like, make, like, a year's salary, like, in a few months, like, off doing this gig, that would be, you know, pretty much a dream. But the core is that I genuinely love doing it. And I wish, well, you know, there's that thing that you always, like, people always say, it's like that corny thing of, like, you know, like, some people don't want to listen to advice from older people, or older people want to give young people advice. It's honestly, you take that advice, you know, because I honestly am of the mind that I really wish I told myself in high school to, like, take making videos seriously, because there was a few that I made when I was a kid on other channels, but they weren't really to the extent of, well, obviously, like, I developed a certain style, but, like, you know, the precursor versions of, like, me making videos. Like, I did it since I was a kid. I've made videos with friends since I was a kid, and then in high school a little bit. Actually, on the first day of high school, there's one video that's on YouTube about crazy skateboarding stunts. I might link it at some point for you guys, for your pleasure. But, you know, like, I wish I told myself back then to do this, you know, but, like, I'm just glad that, like, I'm you know, it's never too late, right? Like, it's like you might have, like, missed one thing, but you always have, you know, the future, right? But if it was up to me, like, and I could time travel, that's the only thing. Like, I don't regret anything in the sense of, like, I'm glad the way things went, and I'm proud of, like, you know, like, just what I'm deciding to do with my life to some extent. But I wish I told myself earlier. That's the only thing I would say. Like, I wish I was serious, even if it, like, you know, could have been stupid stuff. And my stuff's stupid now, but, like, doing it earlier as a kid and like letting myself refine myself earlier, and I'm curious how it would have went, because if I were to do it at the point that, like, people my age are the people that got big on YouTube in like the early 2010s, and like, I, not to say like, oh, I could have been that, but like, I could have been that, like, I wish I made videos early, because, I always had the ideas, I was always making stuff, but you never really think until you're really in it that like you can do it, right? And it really takes doing it to do it. You're not going to know something's going to work out for you. So that's my thing for like anyone out there that's listening to this right now, that's hacking into my computer, that if you literally have any thought in your mind of doing any sort of creative endeavor, or you have a risk that you potentially want to take, why not do it? Literally, why not do it? Like, there's no point to not, because you're only going to regret not having tried it. Because like, I hate hearing like, I love certain people, but when I hear certain people that like talk about like what they want to do and then they don't do it, and like, they have every opportunity to do it, like, why? What's the point of that? Like, it just bothers me, because it's like, everyone has the potential to at least see it through and see what happens, because I'm getting a little too heavy here. I don't know. That's we're the top heavy emotional motivational stream and podcast, guys. So thank you for tuning in to Tito Speaks on top therapy sessions, or whatever you would call these sort of talks. Yeah, go for it. Go for that thing you want to do. Do it. You listening to this is that your daily message to do that thing that you want to do and see it through. That thing that you find a little risky and scares you a bit, why not do it? You probably, and you've heard that before, but literally, why not? Like, there's no point to not. Jeez, like, yeah, you just gotta do it. You'll make Tito proud, guys. You'll make Tito proud by doing that thing you want to do. And like, people that always say like, oh, I'll do it. Like, don't make the excuses. Like, there's always gonna be an excuse. You can always, if you want, you could always find an excuse not to do something, whether it's personal stuff, family stuff. Honestly, I've said this like on the podcast before, but I feel like it's a thing that really works is scheduling your day. If you have a scheduled out day and you have goals and you know what you want to do, whether it's personal life, work, and then like some kind of like other endeavor outside of work that you want to go for, that's that other thing, work is the essential thing. You need to do that first. Everyone's life's different, but like to some extent, work is an essential. You just need to do that. Family is very important. You need to have that in there, and friends, like to some extent. But that's where it's like, if you want to go for this thing you want to do, you need to sacrifice either some kind of leisure time and then some kind of like, maybe you do or don't, like sacrifice a little bit of family time or friend time. And that's like one thing that I was grappling with in the last few years, that like I was too hell-bent on like trying to do the channel, but then I got burnt at a little bit. Like at random points I get burnt out here and there, but like I never stop. I get burnt out like mentally, in the sense of like, I sometimes get like down on myself that like, oh, why isn't this going my way? Oh no, why isn't this going my way? Why aren't I successful in making money on this? Oh no, I gotta make it. But then there's people that like think that they're just gonna, or they're so sure they're gonna, but they never go for it. Or they think they're gonna fail and they don't go for it. And I'm a living example that I could show you right now, that like, I'm someone that's literally just doing it to see what happens. I'm not anything right now. I'm eternally grateful for everyone that watch. Like, the fact that it still kind of blows my mind that there's people in general that watch me. So I'm like, it still kind of blows my mind, and I'm so glad for it. And I'm so like happy that there's people that even care about what I have to say, in terms of like, stuff that I put on the internet, people want to watch. That even one person wants to do it. I'll be grateful for that forever. But, like, in the last year, like I told you guys, or I might have said, for those of you that are maybe just listening to this podcast or stream for the first time, that I did get jobs based on this gig. Like, so I'm also living proof at the same time that I've gotten work for real based on a resume of doing this, making stupid videos on the internet. But, staying committed to it and taking it seriously, So, you gotta, like, if you have a goal, again, you just gotta go for it, man. Like, whatever it is. And you just gotta, like, see it through, and don't expect instant gratification. Don't think that this is gonna, like, blow up in a day. And if it does, because I've had videos on TikTok and YouTube get over 100,000, and in some cases millions of views, and it's like, like, but it's fleeting, right? And it's like, that's not long lasting. That's like in the moment. But what's really, like, you're only ever you in the current moment, right? And what are you gonna do in that moment? Like, you can, like, kind of leech off the success of, or like kind of get down on yourself for being big at one point and then not, like, doing something later. But, like, everything's growing, right? Everything's learning. You're only ever gonna go forward. So that's, again, top motivational podcast, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying this so far. Yeah. But, guys, now let's get to what this gig is. And, like, I'm just taking in, again, this is the first time. I'm pretty excited about the way that, the Tito platform in general, across all platforms, is going. Because I think I'm getting a better idea of, like, where I want this to go, in the sense of, I really think it's a big thing to do the cross promotion of things. Like, you might have seen that I just for the first time posted a Twitch highlight on my socials, and like really small digestible things, like promo, but, like, fun content that's worth watching on its own. I want to, like, do stuff like that more, like, and experiment with it a bit. I even want to do stuff, I don't want to, like, make any public declarations yet, so anything beyond what you already know. But let's just say that there's a lot more coming across these platforms and, like, these things that I'm doing. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, like, I'm doing the most now, even though, like, the numbers aren't as big as they've ever been, but the work is definitely a new high for me. And, like, I'm proud of, like, kind of excited too about what I'm doing with it. So yeah, watch out for everything that I'm doing by hacking into my computer and listening to this. So again, everyone that's just tuning in now, somehow even on the podcast, if you somehow on the podcast tuned in at this point in time, you somehow skipped all the way to everything I was saying. Oh, let's just skip to the end. If you skip to the end of the podcast here, bottom line is stay tuned for what's going down. We're keeping this going. But guys, it's time, guys. We're gonna do a little bit now. Thank you for tuning in at this point of time. We're going to be tuning in now for everyone. I don't know if there's anyone that's watching this right now or listening. Oh, there's people in here. Okay. Shout out everyone that's in here right now. I'm actually going to be taking a little bit of comments, actually. I'm going to be doing a little bit of Q&A right now, just as we're about to hit the hour mark. Guys, thank you for tuning in. This is the part where it's worth it for you guys. Do you guys want to ask me some questions? Let me actually shout out everyone that's here right now. And for those of you on podcasts, you can shout out to all of you on podcasts. You shout out, Laptic, shout out Data, shout out Wind, shout out Waddles. Oh, first time chatters too. Nucleation, shout out Nucleation. Wow, welcome, and welcome Wind. Wow, oh wow, Wind, Waddle, and Nucleation. Let me respect you for the podcast by saying your full handle. Wind Scar _, Waddles the Buff Baby, and a lovely name, by the way. Nucleation 1, lovely name also. Welcome. Laptic is an original OG. So, these are all people, for podcast people, that are currently on the stream. And, yeah, I'm going to open the floor to a bit of questions. Let's see, do any of you guys have certain things you want to ask me of any sort? Everyone that's listening right now, you're basically live listening to me ask questions and wait for answers. But otherwise, like, I'm just opening the floor to if anyone has something they want to ask something or something. Oh, shout out. Oh, yeah, JR. Oh, tier 1 sub. Yeah. Oh, JR. Wow. Yeah, Cormex. Yeah, Cormex. Sorry, I was scrolling up to the top. Tier 1 sub, which is a big deal for you podcasters. Yeah, Cormex. Shout out Cormex for the sub. You are forever ingrained on the podcast now because I uttered your name out loud. Thank you for that. I'm eternally grateful. And for those of you on the podcast, it's actually pretty crazy. You're missing out right now, but there are 6 million viewers on this podcast right now. Oh, I have a question. Okay, JR Cormex. Okay, drinking before going out video. Has that happened? Okay, let's give a little background context. JR Cormex asks, for your drinking before going out video, has that happened to you often? And for the original OGs of the channel, you'll know this video. One of the first ones with my buddy Damien too, actually. It's almost entirely based on, it pretty much is entirely based on new experience. And I think that it's basically a universal thing that happens to people and it happens. It happens. I have a lot of stories of, the idea is that you want to save money before going to the club. For those of you that haven't seen the skit, it's the basic idea is pre-drinking before going out to the club. So you want to, get in your little fix. Yeah, we're saving money. Oh, I love that. Oh, I'll confirm now too that Damien says that to me even till now. We still say that. We say that we'll actually we'll send the screenshot like a meme in conversation about things, even if it doesn't have to do with drinking. We'll use that exact line. Basically in the video, for those of you podcast listeners, he shoves some undisclosed liquid down my throat while like I've had enough, and he says we're saving money. And he says it very, very urgently, very like a friend would, like a friend. And then like most people would, you wake up, and by the time you wake up, or even like blink, you realize, oh, the weekend's gone. And he comes down asking if I'm ready for the Uber, but I thought it was gonna be the Uber, but turns out it's been that long, and I blacked out, and it's time to go to work now. So, it was Friday and now it's Monday, just like in real life. I haven't had that extent, but I feel like there's people, it must have happened to some people on Earth. No, I've had, a version of that happen on many occasions. The general idea of saving money is a universal law. You do what you can, and you gotta save money going out. So never condoning for any of you that are younger than legal drinking age here to ever drink. But if you're someone that is able to, you gotta save money, baby. You gotta save money. What are you supposed to do? Okay, next up we got Laptic. Okay, thank you for the question, Laptic. Do I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is better than No Way Home? It's so funny that you asked that, because that's something that came up literally the other day with my siblings. That came up the other day. So again, Laptic, thank you for the question. Do you think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is better than No Way Home? Ooh, as a film, okay. And I don't think it's a major cap either way, because I think that there's a big case for both. But I would say that Spider-Verse as a film might be better. Don't attack me! But, as a film, I think Spider-Verse has a case for being maybe the best Spider-Man movie. Ooh. Oh, is that a major thought or not? Yeah, dude, the animation on that movie is crazy. Oh, and something I heard. Okay, before I get into this other tangent, let me just say my thoughts again. No Way Home, amazing, probably the most Spider-Man movie that Tom Holland has been. Puts Tom Holland in the most traditional place of a Spider-Man movie of all the movies. And honestly, I've seen it twice, so this is my as of seeing it twice mentality on it right now. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'd say that Laptic says there that the directing was a little off. There were points that, and I saw some reviews. If you guys watch Chris Stuckman on YouTube, I've been a longtime fan of his for years, before he even when he was doing when the quality of those videos were so small, was so crappy. His review, and it's something that I realized because I had already seen the movie by the time I watched his review, that when they're directing the scenes, John Watts is doing the scenes with Willem Dafoe, that it kind of cuts away from him when it should have just stayed on him, and I totally agree with that. And there's some things that maybe I'll pick up on later, but yeah, some decisions that I think maybe didn't make it as impactful as it could have been. So, but I love the movie. I loved it so much. I'm excited to watch it a million more times. But as of now, I'm just gonna say that well-rounded as a whole, that maybe Spider-Verse, but the fact that it's even neck and neck, like that's just a testament how good those movies are. So yeah, thank you for the question. And Cormex again asks, is your family fairly performative? Your siblings have pretty good comedic timing too. My sisters are in dance. I'd say my younger than me, but she was in a few videos. The when you're blocking the TV, that sister, the older one, she's honestly has acting chops, and I think she could do it. She's very much she has a lot of me in her in some ways, and I would like her to pursue that. But like not something that she's actively doing. But I say a lot of my family's very creative. But yeah, like the fact that they're even like down to be in my videos, I think that kind of helped. Maybe because it was the last like, geez, nearly what like. Guys, is it really gonna be 4 years since I've been doing these videos? Wow, almost 4 years since I've been doing these videos. That's kind of semi-ingrained in them, and I like to think that it inspires them to kind of utilize that creative performing bug. I was a drama kid in high school, and I was also in drama class. No, I strayed away from drama in the sense of drama. But drama class, I took theater drama. I took all throughout school. Yeah. Oh, and yes. Oh, dude, thank you. Does it need to be said that my grandma is maybe the best actress of all time? How can we get in the podcast and in the chat? Can we get a thumbs up for everyone that thinks that it deserves? She deserves all the Academy Awards, all the Emmys, all the Grammys for her. Somehow she deserves Grammys for her acting performances. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for acknowledging that. Yes, Data. Okay. At this point, everyone that's listening now, I'm basically in a live chat. I'm gonna be pretty much posting this, but Data asks, "Is this the Q&A part?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is." So thank you, Data. Data, I'm gonna confirm. I'm gonna reveal you that Data is indeed my friend Damien. So yes, that they're all. For those of you that are wondering, I'm going to put Data's address in the description of this video so you can find him if you want. If you have any issues with his performances in my videos, you can take it up with him. I'll leave his address and his all his work information in the description of the video. So, yeah. But yeah, shout out to Data. Oh, Fully Coolie King, shout out for the thumbs up. Thank you, first time chatter. Yeah. But let's try to keep this a little organized for before I end the podcast part, just for podcast listeners. Let's see, any other questions in there? Okay, Laptic, another question. In grade 12, did you know what you wanted to be? No, I didn't. This will add on to what I was saying earlier. I did want to get into this stuff a bit. So, in high school, I thought I wanted to get into animation. And I wanted to, I was really good at in my own mind, I was really good at drawing. Me and Data, actually, that's how we early, friendship was, that we were both, considered the good drawers of our, I went to elementary and high school with him. I was considered, of course, the better drawer. Can confirm. But yeah, we took art together and stuff. But we actually had geography class. But anyways, I thought I wanted to get into animation, and I kind of set my course for that. And I knew in general I wanted to do something in a creative field, but on the side, there was this kind of side bug in me that I loved the acting stuff. I liked performing, because I was a big movie guy, and big movie guy as in I was already a movie star at that point. But no, I was in. Like I said, I made a lot of videos and stuff, and I took theater drama, and I learned that I liked it even more, because in elementary school I was in plays. I was in Macbeth in 3rd grade, a kid version of Macbeth, with all the murder and stuff, the version that they could do. And yeah, I did, I think the version that lingered till now is just the fact that the earliest points is those theater classes. I think that, and then also the program I took in college after, which is interaction design, which is basically UX, more or less, the without getting too into it, basically UX and designing things to be easy to use, designing user experiences, which sounds nothing like what I do. Actually, it sounds like everything I do. Would you not say this whole gig here is a user experience? So I could thank my school and thousands upon thousands of dollars of debt. Let's justify that, guys. Let's justify my debt by saying that I needed to take that course to start Tito Please. So in that case, thank you, IXD, for that. IXD is the short form. But yes, I needed to go through the years upon years of debt. Me and Dada, actually, guys, Dada actually he went to high school and then college with me. I took like we both took a 1 year art course, and this is all at the point like, so I thought I wanted to do animation, but I didn't quite have the chops for it. And or if I wanted to get the chops for it, I had to go a next level that I didn't want to do. And I found that I wasn't passionate about it the way I thought I was. Because it came like, everything's going to be technical. It's not going to be like all like fantasy and fairy tale and stuff. Although they make the fairy tales. But because I went to Sheridan College, for those of you that do or don't know, is the art college in the GTA. The Oakville campus is where a lot of, like, second in the world to Cal Arts for animation, and like Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, they take people from this school here, right? And it's in my backyard. It's pretty lucky that it's like that close, that people went to LA, like got jobs off that, which is pretty crazy. So that was obviously something in my mind, like knowing that was there. I think that was a big part of why I thought I had to do it. Like, I gotta try, because I know I want to do something in movies. So the biggest crossover of my ambitions of making content, I guess there is crossover that I wanted to make content. I wanted to tell stories. I guess that's kind of like the whole thing of any sort of through line that connects to now from then, is that I wanted to tell stories, and that's what I wanted to do. So, yeah. But I'm a little congested, guys. Let me just do a little clear by nose ASMR. Thanks, Cormex. Oh, I appreciate it. Cormex also says, I'm fairly surprised that you aren't bigger yet. And honestly, like, I don't know. Like, it's a lot of factors, man. Like, if we knew the answers for these things, we wouldn't have to ask them. But, it is what it is. I'm just happy, again, like, I'm just grateful that I'm, like, still have the legs on me to keep doing this. And I'm not even saying, like, I'm not getting, like, tired of it or anything. Like, I want to keep doing it, but anyway, it would have been nice to blow up back when I had that first momentum, but I'm glad that, some of you stuck around, or even some people that, I don't know if there's anyone, can anyone confirm in comments on the podcast, on the videos or anything? Comment somewhere if you found me recently. I'm curious about that. Because, like, I know that a lot of people that watch me have been watching me since, like, back in 2018, 19. So I'm curious if there's new, because, my new videos don't get, like, the most views. They only get a few million views, not, like, the billions of views they used to get. Only a few million. So, I'm curious about people that come in now and find it. So I'm curious about that. Yeah. Laptic has a few questions for me. I know Laptic, for those of you that are curious, Laptic tends to, I can tell Laptic you're a big MCU fan or Marvel fan. Laptic always asks me Marvel stuff. So Laptic asks, Andrew Garfield was confirmed, or it's not even a question, I guess. Andrew Garfield was confirmed to be in future MCU movies. Yes, Andrew Garfield was indeed. Yeah, like, isn't it? Oh, wait, is that just now? Because it was, wasn't that like a loose thing? Like, I thought that was like, I didn't know, that like on paper they said that as an announcement. That's pretty crazy. Like, I don't know. But, yeah, like, oh, dude, after his let's just, let me, like, backtrack a bit there. I'm not going to cut this out, but let's just say, why would Andrew Garfield be in future MCU movies? Who knows? I don't know. What does Andrew Garfield have to do with anything? Laptic? Oh, bad Laptic. We love Laptic, though. Thank you. And then Laptic asks another question about the theory of him becoming Venom. I heard that there's things about Venom being in his timeline. So it's interesting about, like, Tom Hardy's. Like, I don't know if that's a thing that they're going to make his version, like, in that world. So I'm curious about that. Yeah. I'm honestly, like, dude, like, the multiverse stuff is so crazy. Like, it's crazy we're at this point that No Way Home made it so that we're literally invested in, like, other versions of... Like, they can do anything now. They can make a Star Wars crossover and make it work somehow, you know? It's crazy. But, next up, question-wise, we say here, Fooly Cooley King. It says 2 years subbed. Ooh, shout out Fooly Cooley King. Thank you, Fooly Cooley King. So you're an OG. So Nucleation. Honestly, I'm glad that you guys are even enjoyment of me. Nucleation. Do I watch any Twitch streamers? I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm not the biggest like watcher. Like, I'll tune in here and there. My buddy, I have a few people that I'll put on, and I'll give them a little plug. An art streamer who's a friend of mine, himlad_, HIMLAD_ is a art streamer, good friend of mine. He's pretty funny, and he has a good, really creative, like, different kind of art style. Like, it's very him. It's not like regular. It's definitely reflective of him. But he's a funny guy and a cool guy, and his stream would be appreciative if you went over there. In terms of big people that people might know, you know, we love those hot tub streams. Can't go wrong with a good hot tub stream. You're always seeing... wait, who else? No, who do I follow? You know, it can't go wrong. Some of my faves. My actual, like, you know... I think a little bit... I watch more of the highlights, if I'm honest, on YouTube, because I follow on Twitch, but I don't always actually tune into the Twitch, but I'll watch clips here and there of I'm Dante, Pay Money Wubby, you know... Critical, Moist Critical, Penguin Zio, can't go wrong, Charlie. Who else? Those are like ones off the top of my head that I could say. Oh, and also another, well, I don't know if he streams as much now, but my cousin who's a COD streamer, just a little, you know, shameless plugs here. Codzilla, C0DZ1LLA. Check him out. He hasn't streamed in a while, but I'll just give him a little plug there. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, that's pretty much at least now. Also, do you guys have suggestions for me, people I might like? Even in the comments on podcasts, comments, anything, give me some suggestions, people I might like. Yeah, I'm down to check out people. Laptic also, okay, Laptic with more of the MCU here. I'll read it out loud. And in no way, I'll make sure there's no spoilers. In No Way Home, they fixed the multiverse. Anything is possible, and even... if they do fix in Doctor Strange 2, Loki mess up the multiverse. The big thing with that is that we don't know still. We don't know when Loki actually takes place in the timeline. So it's curious because like everyone thought that like WandaVision and Spider-Man and this were all going to be like one event that connects. It seems that it's not. So I'm curious about where that, and then Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange 2 seems like the key to all this. Oh, Doctor Strange 2 also, by the way, seems like, if you guys have heard, I hate, you know what, one thing I love and hate, the whole culture of like the online casting rumors and news, because it ruins the movie in a lot of senses, you know? It used to, in the old days, like me as a kid, but I feel like it always existed, maybe it's just me as a kid not being as much into the research, but, you know, I used to not know everything about the movies, but I don't like, you know, like sometimes you'll find out something from the first time by like seeing an article online, which I don't like anymore. But I still do it, to be honest. Like, I geek out over the speculation, but I kind of wish there was a factor of like they don't release this information officially. I would love there to just be a cameo and like don't say it. And to be fair, there's been a few of those in recent things, which I appreciate Marvel for doing, and Star Wars and stuff like that. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, Nucleation, of course, Penguin Zio. Little known streamer. So I'll, I gave him a little plug there, Penguin Zio. Yeah. Oh, Jay Cormax. How many BTS songs are on your best songs ever playlist? Ooh, I'm gonna be a little bit of I'm gonna get all the unsubs right now, but I don't really listen to BTS. And not for any reason of, like, not liking. I just haven't... You think am I a rare case of, like, I just haven't really heard BTS songs? If I'm honest, I genuinely can't think, like, I probably heard it, but I can't name a BTS song. Like, am I, like, bad or good for that? Like, and it's not even me, like I will listen, like, because I love popular stuff. Like, I like, popular stuff. Like I'll listen to Drake and like The Weeknd. By the way, I listened to part of the Weeknd album, banger so far. I listened to the first half, but put me onto the good BTS songs, guys. Like, yeah, like it's crazy. Like biggest, like they're like the new Backstreet Boys in sync. But yeah, nucleation. I do not know DNSL, so I'm not sure about that. Fabricant. Wait, so Fabricant says, I won't tell Twitter you said that, I promise. Now I'm curious, is this in regards to BTS, or what is it in regards to? Is this cancel worthy on Twitter? Oh well, I did what I did. I have to, I accept my fate, whatever it was. You know, I'll just cut that out. I'll just cut it out. And by that I mean, I don't cut anything. It all just goes live, and you know, I'm not scared of anything I say here. I'm kind of scared of the stands that are gonna come after me, but you know, I lived a good life. I had a good run, guys. Would you say I had a good run? I lived out my legs. Yeah, Cormac says messing with me about BTS, and then wait, what? DNSL. Okay, nucleation. That's what it says. Great YouTuber. Check it out. Okay, because honestly, I'm not the most well versed. As much as like, you know, I'm on here, I'm on these platforms, I'm not actually the most well versed in consuming all the content. Because like I said, and you guys have seen, I'm a big like movie person, so like a lot of my free time, because like a lot of my time is putting it into this stuff, like as in making the content. So I need to like be put onto some of the more, you know, even when it comes to like TikTok and like, because I know like I like that like TikTok still has like the people that are kind of like, it still has kind of some of the you know, the old heads that are like all talking down on it. But like, you know, there's actually a lot of niches that I find on TikTok that are, it's like a big platform. And I'm actually saying grateful because like it's my biggest platform actually, technically. So I still kind of take it for granted, weirdly. I don't know why. Or I don't really take it for granted, but it's more that I don't mentally pay attention to it as much. Because I think that they have more, they're stricter on there in terms of like, you can't even show a little toy gun on there without getting your video banned or something. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, like for the skits, yeah. Well, I've been doing it. That's why I have the bigger platform on there. But the thing is that I didn't... Oh, maybe this will go off. Cormac's question looks like it might actually relate to this. Cormac says, how has the pandemic changed the content you want and have made? I would say that it allowed me to... Like everyone, like I just kind of sit with my thoughts more. I have had a lot more time to rework the direction of the channel, really sit and reflect on myself and think about what I want, kind of look at the channel from the outside, you know, think about what I want with it and what, because like there's some level of me that like I think and don't think about what people want, and I want it to be honest to me, but I think there's a happy balance of like doing what I want to make, and this pandemic helped me with this, doing what I want to make versus what I think people want to see. And then like what I think can like help get me big, because it's like, you know, the last few years I didn't really, like the majority of my videos don't have like billions of views, but I do it because like it became almost muscle memory exercise that like it was a weekly thing. I couldn't not make videos, but I think the pandemic helped me think through more. Well, I started streaming and I started all this stuff, podcast streaming, in the pandemic. So like if anything, that's a big part of the change of content. Realizing that these other platforms are important, and because I had this weird narrow view of like I only had to do YouTube and that was it. And then also another thing I learned in the last while was like, so this is a big part of like the change of like the way I'm perceiving the channel now, is that I had this thing where I thought that the content had to be so separate from my life that I had to make it like, you know, and it's not to say I'm doing a 180, but like I think Instagram's the biggest example of that, and even the streaming and podcasts. But with Instagram, I had the need to like, I would only post, you know, the skits on there, and I wouldn't do anything else. But now I'm like kind of slowly thinking like it's small steps, but if you follow me on IG, you'll know that, or notice that I started posting stories more, because I actually now historically and traditionally I wasn't using the channel, the IG page as like a personal page, but I started mentally doing that recently because I thought I used to think that I had to keep it separate from my life, as if like I was so different than what my videos are. But like I realized, oh wait, I'm not really like I'm not putting on a front. Like why don't I just like it was a big realization I had in the last while that I was like, why am I doing it separate? Like why am I just posting regular stuff and then not posting any sort of like random thoughts on stories? Because like that's what stories are for, right? Or anything. That I think that Instagram is a good, because like I use Instagram as that casual posting, life stuff, like just daily things is like Instagram for me, like posting like random stuff. So I thought that like, and I think it's something that obviously guys like, like people that watch and stuff would care about, maybe for seeing some of that stuff. I still don't know if it's gratifying yet, because I don't have the billions and billions of followers, only a few million, but I just know it's like the way I'm going with it is the new right way to go about it, which is the podcast, the stream, cross promo now. Like if you notice, and I'm glad I'm like started doing it, like posting stuff. Just I want to view it as like it's not different things. It's all one thing that helps each other. So that's what I'm like kind of realizing more so in the pandemic. So thank you for that question. Cormex. Shout out Cormex, and shout out all of you. All you guys are you guys are pretty great. You guys are pretty neat. Yeah. Laptic says you should check out Danta Davis. He's funny and underrated. Ooh, funny and underrated like me. Thank you, Laptic. Oh, that's a compliment. But yeah. Thanks for everyone that tuned in to the podcast. Guys, I know you guys came here because you like live streaming. And we're going to call it an end to the podcast portion of this. Thank you all for tuning in. But we're going to do a little bit of streaming now. So if you're on the stream right now, we're going to have a little bit of fun, play a little bit of GTA. If you want to watch, we have a little bit of fun coming up. But, if you're on the podcast, listening to the podcast, and you want to like potentially catch one of these live, I don't know, do you guys even like the idea of me doing the podcast live? I kind of like this. It's a little different. I might start doing this, actually. Like, I might have just killed two birds with one stone. Like, because, like, the podcast and the stream, again, are, like, I was viewing it as different things. But maybe what I do now is I do it in one go. Like, I do the first half as a podcast. And then, yeah, I stream after, have some fun. So, yeah. I said yeah a few times, but I'm going to call it the end of there for the podcast. I'll see you guys there. I'll see you guys around if you're gonna tune in the car or whenever it is that you listen to me, hacking into my computer and listening in your car. All of you hackers that are hacking into my personal files, because again, like all these things I've been saying it to myself, and I'm not talking to anyone. I like to think that I'm just in the safety of my home, in my room. No one's listening to what I'm saying. All these potentially incriminating things that I'm saying are not public. So yeah. And I'll see you around.